You know, we get lots of questions about how to do cutting dies, how to solve some problems, and we have the answer for you.
And Teresa has taken those answers and put them all together on a computer DVD that answers those questions and more.
And wait till you see the wonderful projects. Come play with us. And here it is. What I love is that this is a treasure trove.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So many things in this one little package. Computer DVD. It'll play on a Mac or a PC.
Right.
And Teresa, cutting dies, tips, tricks, and techniques.
Plus 33 unique cards on here. Now there are 5 hours of video, and within here, the thing that I like the best really is those basic techniques. When you've ever had a question, how do I use that? Where do I put it? Yeah, which plates do I use? I can't cut through this. How do I get through that? This solves so many of those problems.
It does.
Such great information.
In fact, why don't you bring over chapter 1, which is that basic information.
So when you put this little computer DVD into your computer, you pop it in, you're going to get something that shows you all of the different chapters. You're going to click on whatever chapter you want. Chapter number 1 is basic information, and this is just filled with great stuff. Should you use a manual die cutter or an electric die cutter? What's the die cutting sandwich? About partial die cutting, silicone embossing mats, and even in some of these it's going to show you the picture of the precision base plate and what kinds of materials you'll use with that. I love that. It even shows tools of how to get your little cutting dies out easier. So lots and lots of information right there. And you can print that out or you can just leave it on your computer. That's up to you.
It's there forever. So we're going to get into some of the chapters. Chapter 1 is basic materials.
Right.
Chapter 2 is about specialty materials, and here's an example. So as we're going through these, while Teresa, of course, in her example, has chosen a specific die, you can really use it with any cutting die. And this one is using the pearl sheets.
Right.
Now they come in a pack of 6 sheets, 3 gold, 3 silver. They're self-adhesive on the back.
Which is wonderful.
Look what they do. They just do a beautiful job.
And when you go through the DVD, it's going to tell you, okay, this specialty adhesive sheet, you need to use the precision base plate to cut this out. And that's the beauty of this DVD. Not just a project, but how to do it effectively without having a problem.
And I like this. So here we've got that whole cutting die on the front. Then Teresa elected to cut it apart on the inside. So it just gives you even more. So I really appreciate that.
Amazing ways of using cutting dies like this one.
This is using acetate, and you can see it shine, but she also colored that acetate.
Right, and that starts with just a basic piece of acetate. So let me just pull that in. Here's the piece of acetate. It's shiny, so you can see that. Take any color of Spectrum Noir pen that you want, and you can change acetate to any color you want. And so Teresa did this. She just colored it, and then she took the little flower cutting dies that are part of this three flower spray cutting die, and she cut out that piece. Again, it tells you in the DVD, use the precision base plate when cutting acetate because it works so much better.
Right.
And you're not going to have a problem.
And then the cutting die was done, in this case, out of black cardstock, just putting it right on top. And this is the floral spray, the rose spray, I think.
Okay. And then and then she just used the shadow of floral cutting dies that come with that to cut out the backing shapes for each of those.
So pretty.
So you can imagine that in any color you like, as long as you have alcohol-based pens like Spectrum Noir pens.
It'll work. Or you could use the re-inkers if you wanted to.
Absolutely.
And so there's the whole cutting die with the little shadow pieces behind it. On the inside, she's just turned it. Give you another look. Really pretty. So that's what I appreciate, is she gives so many hints, tips, and techniques. Now this is a die that is very much just a shadow.
It's just a shadow. It's colored with Spectrum Noir pens. So very simply, cutting your die cut, and then just start coloring and blending those colors. And you can use a blending pen as well with the Spectrum Noir pens to blend those together, and then backing those cut areas on a different color paper.
There it is on the inside.
But just another simple technique. I mean, it's filled with different ways to use your cutting dies, as well as hints for how to solve those issues you're having.
Right. Now this is using our card flaps, die, and matching stamp, and showing the combination of the two.
Right, and a really simple way to way to do that is with a stamping platform. So I've got the Misty here. We also have the Tim Holtz stamping platform, and it's a very simple process. You have your piece that was cut, and the cutting die was used on the bottom edge of this, and there are magnets that go in here too. I don't have them at the moment, but you use your magnets to hold that down. And here is the stamp from the set, and you actually start by lining that up. I'm going to move that to the center. Lining that up wherever you want that to be, and that's the beauty of the matching stamps and cutting dies. They do match perfectly, and you can go ahead and stamp, or you can stamp first and cut that edge afterward. It's up to you, but that's something that's talked about on the DVD.
Now in this one, you can see by that flash, it is using the glitter embossing powder.
Right, I think that's the Pink Fizz, possibly, embossing powder. So lots of glitter.
Very pretty.
Just very beautiful.
And this card, as I open it, goes here. So that cutting die has been used on the front. Here it's a 3-panel card.
Plus those same cutting dies used to create a label for the inside.
So very, very fun. Now what you see with each chapter is this. So we'll back up a little bit so you can see. So chapter 4 is stencils, masks, and stamps with dies. It shows you the projects, and then you can watch the video for the technique, or just go straight to the project where you will see this. And then, so you get a nice large image of the finished card. You get a tip from Teresa, and then you can go through and read the directions if you like, and finish and do it. Now this is taking a cutting die and using it as a mask. And Gail has got a process here for you. Okay.
I think that's a beautiful. I think that's a beautiful card. It's just sort of it's shimmery. It's got this pearlescence. But the thing that I like best is that she did use that cutting die as a mask. So when you see this, you'll know you can do this for any process, for any die cut. You can take that die cut and stick it to whatever kind of paper you want. In this case, we're using watercolor paper as a base, but you're going to use repositional adhesive on the back. So I'm just going to go around and use it on as many areas of the back of this die cut as I can.
And I think it's important that you're doing that on a craft sheet.
Right. You can do it on a craft sheet, do it on another piece of paper or something, but I do make sure I hit the edges and a little bit in the center, and that's really going to make it stick well. And it's going to be super removable afterwards too. She also mentions that you can die cut this from acetate and then use the acetate many times for this process. The paper is going to be used maybe once with what we're going to do. And then I've got some color burst, and I'm sure you're familiar with color burst. I'm just going to put a little bit of it on here. Although I have to say, I'm pretty sure that Teresa used a lot of color burst on here. She really got it covered with color. And I've got Merlot, I've got Violet, I've got whatever, alizarin crimson, and then
a whole bunch of stuff.
Even pixie powders. So the pixie powders are what give it that sort of shiny look.
Because it has mica powder in it.
Right. So a little bit of everything here. I'm just
shaking up a storm.
Yeah. Okay. And then once that's all there, you just start spritzing it. And the great thing about it is that when you're done, you'll be able to lift that stencil, and you'll have that beautiful background. Now, I'm not going to be able to make it look exactly like Teresa did, because I probably didn't use as much as she did. You know, you can definitely
you can't
go
duplicate.
back and add more colors. I would probably add more purple or something, but once that, I think I would even wait for that to dry, and then I would remove this. But you can see that it makes this beautiful masked effect.
And here's Teresa's with a little bit more purple, as you said.
Right.
She did add some of the die-cut butterflies on top, so you can do that.
That's
on
great
the inside, just a little smidge of it. And I have to say, I really like that. I think that's very striking.
Right.
Probably the more color behind it, the better. It really shows that image of the cutting die. So. And that's what I like about the DVD, is that it's going to give you a lot of techniques that you probably didn't think about,
Right.
or maybe you saw one time and
you didn't know exactly how to do it, and this lays it out for you. You're even going to get printed instructions if you want to.
And this is one. This is taking a cutting die and turning it into an embossing folder.
And which is,
who would have thought?
Right, so now you know all of your cutting dies. Turn them into embossing folders. And she tells you exactly how to do it in the DVD, and afterwards she inked that. But I am going to show you the layering process, which is laid out in the DVD. You've got your cardstock. So here is the cutting die, and here are the sandwich plates. But the important part of this combination is that she added an embossing plate. Well, do we call it a plate? Embossing mat.
Right.
Embossing mat. Now this has got little tiny pieces of fibers of paper all over it because we use this all the time. When you get it, it'll be nice and black, and it'll be like this in no time.
And you can make it like this, yes.
So here is the bottom of our sandwich, which in the DVD she explains to you what the names of each and everything are and how you construct your sandwich. Now normally, let me show you this. Normally you would put in your cardstock, you would take your die cut and place it face down on that paper, and here's the top part of your sandwich, and run it through the machine. So the only difference here is we add the embossing mat, then the cardstock, and you want the cutting blades toward that embossing mat. And what that does is, when it goes through, that's a cushion, and it makes it so it can't cut all the way through, and it makes it emboss your cardstock. So there's the embossed cardstock. It is not cut all the way through. And then you can take a sponge or a stylus with Stays-On ink or any other ink and rub it on there and get the look that you see
like
here.
that. Just so now you've got double duty of all of your cutting dies into embossing folders. So really pretty.
Right.
And
plus lots more.
Inside,
We've just barely hit what is going on in this DVD. All of the information.
Specialty papers is just such a fun thing to do. It just makes your cutting dies come alive.
Right.
This is using holographic red ripple and green circles. Now, those two, yeah, they look Christmas, but wow, I would not think of something as elegant as a poinsettia.
Just a little of that.
But Teresa did.
Plus they're backed on gold metallic paper,
Yes.
which gives another gorgeous look.
Extra pretty. Here is the Bodacious Blooms cutting die with suede paper, suede red and suede green. Again, Christmas colors, but wow, to get something that elegant.
Layering those, lifting those, and you can sort of curl those a little bit. And again, she tells you exactly everything you need to do, and it's right there.
And what I love is at the end is a chapter on the white on white, and I think it is so elegant. And Gail actually does one project start to finish of how to do this just beautiful technique.
And it is gorgeous. I love white on white, especially when you're able to see through a little bit, and you're adding these
vellum.
Right. This has got the Floral Frenzy stamps and matching cutting dies.
And by the way, the center step cards, we've been out of stock, but they're coming back soon.
And even but you can still use a template.
You can still use the template.
We
You're
have
right.
the center step card template to make this, so that's no problem.
Never goes out of style.
So, but I love layering this. This even got Color Me, a white Color Me, and you don't have to color it. You can leave it with that beautiful white on there.
I just think it's such an elegant look, and it's nice because I think you're going to have 3 examples of doing the white on white. So that's, I don't know where we buried the DVD. There it is.
The DVD.
So in one little, about 5-inch piece, you have all of this. And as I said, you just pop it in and you can get started immediately, Mac or PC.
I think the basic information alone is pretty cool. And I would totally get it just for that.
Yep, good to have.